for derivation of a stiffness matrix for solving a 1D bar problem in FE. Okay, so you can see that we have taken a one-dimensional element. This is particularly a one-dimensional element which has two nodes. Okay, so I have given the coordinate system in both the type, that is the global coordinate system as well as the natural coordinate system. With respect to global coordinate system, the first node is being represented with the x1 displacement. The second node is being represented with the x2 position. Okay, so what is the length of this will be x2 minus x1. Okay, so in this particular case, the same element I have considered, and here I have taken zeta minus 1 on the extreme left side. So this will be the origin here. So zeta is equal to 0 and will be at the center of that particular element, and extreme left will be taking it as a zeta minus 1 and extreme right will be taking it as a zeta plus 1. So in the previous video we have seen how to derive the shape function for both the coordinate system in terms of natural coordinate system and also in terms of global coordinate system as well as the natural coordinate system. So today we will be deriving the strain matrix. Okay, so why basically we are deriving the strain matrices? With respect to strain matrix, I can find out the stresses induced in the element, as well as with respect to this particular strain matrix, I can calculate the stiffness induced in the body. Okay, so we will start with the strain. So strain of an element. Strain of an element. So from your first chapter, we have studied how to write a strain equation, the differential equation. Basically, we are doing 1D analysis here. So for a 1D analysis, the displacement parameter is only on the x-axis. So we will be writing the change in the displacement with respect to x. Okay, the change in length to the original length. So this is what we call it as a strain for a particular element. So I can just modify this strain to suit. See, I have already told you we will be mostly using the natural coordinate system in order to find out the values of the equation. Okay, for that case, what we are doing is we are trying to convert everything in the form of natural coordinate system. So see here how I am doing this. So if I write this particular equation as dou v by dou zeta into dou zeta by dou x, dou u by dou zeta into dou zeta by dou x. It doesn't have any change here because I am multiplying and dividing by zeta, dou zeta. Okay, so I have got two particular equations. So I will be individually solving these two particular equations in order to find out the strain value. Okay, which is in terms of natural coordinate system. Okay, so first we will try to solve this. So dou u by dou zeta. So from your previous session you have seen how to write the field variable in terms of nodal displacement. That is, in terms of the field variable and the nodal displacements can be interlinked or can be related with the help of a parameter called as shape function. Okay, so in the previous class you have written u is equal to n1 u1 plus n2 u2, n1 u1 plus n2 u2, where n1 was given as, in terms of natural coordinate system, it was 1 minus zeta by 2, and n2 was given as 1 plus zeta by 2. Okay, so n1 was given as 1 minus zeta by 2 and n2 was given as 1 plus zeta by 2. So I will be solving this particular equation, okay, and be substituting these n1 and n2 values in this particular equation. Then I will be doing the differentiation partially with respect to zeta, so that I will be getting this particular equation. Okay, so we will do this. So u is equal to n1 is nothing but 1 minus zeta by 2 into u1 plus 1 plus zeta by 2 into u2. Okay, 1 minus zeta by 2 u1 plus 1 plus zeta by 2 u2. So when I do the differentiation with respect to dou u by dou zeta, so what I am getting minus 1 by 2 u1 plus 1 by 2 u. Is it clear? I will be getting minus 1 by 2 u1 plus 1 by 2 u2. So I will keep it as it is. This one I will keep it as it is. Okay? I will keep it as it is. I will multiply it in the later case. Next, what I want is I want dou zeta by dou x. Dou zeta by dou x. So zeta is a natural parameter. X is a global parameter. So in the previous equation or the previous session, we have got a relationship between a global coordinate system, or we call it as a Cartesian coordinate system, and the natural coordinate system, which was given as zeta is equal to 2 into x minus x1 upon x2 minus x1 minus 1. Okay, I hope it is clear. 2 into x minus x1 upon x2 minus x1 minus 1. So if I do it as dou zeta by dou x, so dou zeta by dou x, if I do it, so what you get here is only 1. Okay, 1 upon x2 minus x1, that is it will be 2 into 1 minus 0 upon x2 minus x1. Okay, x2 minus x1 minus 1 will be 0 because it is in terms of x here. So next what I do is I just solve this. So what you get here is dou zeta by dou x, it will be 2 upon dou zeta by dou x, it will be 2 upon x2 minus x1. So x2 minus x1 is nothing but, if you see here, x2 minus x1 is nothing but the length of the element. So what I will do is I will write it here 2 upon le, that is length of the element. Okay, so now I got what is dou zeta by dou x, and I got what is dou u by dou zeta. So what I will do is I will multiply them. Okay, so I have this equation here, so I write it at the top. So zeta is nothing but dou u by dou zeta into dou zeta by dou x. Okay, so what is dou u by dou zeta? It is minus 1 by 2 u1 plus 1 by 2 u2. So what you will get dou zeta by dou x? Dou zeta by dou x is nothing but 2 by le. 2 by le. So what I do is, so if you see here, so 2 gets cancelled, so it remains as 1 by le, and you will be getting minus 1 plus minus u1 plus u2. Okay, minus u1 plus u2. So you know that, okay, you know that whenever we are solving in an FEM format, we will be trying to write everything in a matrix form. Everything in a matrix form. So now I will convert this particular equation in a matrix form, but it doesn't change any, but it doesn't make any difference. But I am just representing the terms in a matrix form. So how I write, I will just show you. This will be 1 by le. So I take this as minus 1 comma 1, and the matrix will be u1 u. So if you just multiply them, minus 1 into u1 will be minus u1 plus 1 into u2 will be u2. So you will be getting this particular equation. Okay. So this particular equation, this parameter, so 1 by le minus 1 1, I will be designating it as a parameter called as b. Okay. So what I will do is I will generally write a strain as b into u. Okay. U might consist of u1, u2 and u3. So minus 1 comma 1, okay, into 1 by le. So it is nothing but b is given as 1 by le minus 1. So it is nothing but, this is called as strain displacement matrix. Strain displacement matrix. Okay, strain displacement matrix. So basically strain is given in this particular format. Basically strain is given in this particular format. So strain in an FEM format, so you have to write it as a B into U. Okay, B into U. So now you calculated the value of strain here, which is B into U. What I do is I will calculate the value of stress. So stress in an element. Stress in an element. Okay, stress in an element will be, what do you mean by stress here? Stress is nothing but epsilon into E. So from your Hooke's law, okay, this is from the Hooke's law. So Hooke's law says that stress is directly proportional to strain, and I want to find out the stress. It will be strain into Young's modulus. So I just substitute the value of strain here. So E sigma epsilon is equal to B into U into E. E is a constant term. E is a constant term here. So whenever we are finding out the stress in an element in an FEM format, this is the value you need to incorporate. Okay. So this is the value of stress and this is the value of strain. So how we did it? We have just taken a simple strain equation for an element. As the displacement is happening in x-axis, we take it as dou u by dou x. Then dou u by dou x can be modified as dou u by dou zeta into dou zeta by dou x. So dou u by dou zeta can be determined from the shape function equation for natural coordinate system, which we got it as 1 by 2 minus u1 plus u2, and dou zeta by dou x we got it as 2 by LE. Okay, when we multiply it, we got the equation in the format of B matrix and U. So this will be the strain, and stress is nothing but epsilon into E. So you will be getting it as P into U into E. Okay, so this is about the strain matrix and strain displacement matrix. Okay, now we try to calculate or try to derive the the stiffness matrix for a bar element. Okay, so the stiffness matrix varies for a bar, truss as well as for a beam. Okay, so first we will be trying to calculate the stiffness matrix for a beam element. So first, whenever we are deriving the stiffness matrix, we will start up with the strain energy. Then from the strain energy, we will try to calculate the stiffness for a bar element. So basically, strain energy for a 3D object, okay, is given as, so if I take U as a strain energy parameter, or you can write it as SE, strain energy, which will be integrated as half 0 to volume stress into strain into dV. Okay, half integration 0 to V stress epsilon into dV. This is a general equation which is being given for the strain energy. So but we require for the bar element. Bar element is a 1D element where we need to convert this particular equation into a bar element. Okay, so how to do that? So volume now. So whenever we are solving a bar element, I have already told you, even though it is a 3D object, I'll convert it into a 1D. How I'll consider it? Assuming that whenever the load happens, so the area, whatever is there, the other two axes, the area remains constant. Okay, practically it doesn't happen, but for a 1D analysis where I'm very much interested along the x-axis, along the length axis, I'll assume that area is constant. For that case only, FEM is an approximate solution. I'm assuming it, I'm trying to solve the problem. Okay, so when I am assuming as a line element, area remains constant. So it was change in volume. Now there will not be change in volume, there will be only change in the length. So I will convert this volume into area, which is a constant, into the length, which is the dx, which is changing along the x-axis. So I will modify this strain energy for a bar element it as 0 to LE, the length of the element. Okay, and in this remains as it is, sigma into epsilon into dV becomes A into dx. A into dx. Okay, there is the only change. Whenever we are converting a 3D into a bar element, we have to integrate it with respect to length parameter, and the volume remains as an area into dx. Okay, so now from the previous equation, okay, so from the previous which you have done, so basically this is given as in a matrix form. This is given as sigma transpose epsilon A into dV. So basically why we are doing this is to do the matrix multiplication, because it was generally written in a equational form. When I want to convert this equational form in a matrix form, this transpose comes into picture. So row wise and column wise has to be multiplied in that case, because initially strain was dou u by dou x. Now when you write the strain matrix, it is B into u. B is a matrix. So whenever we are solving a matrix, so we need to convert that. One has to be transpose, one has to be a normal parameter, then only the matrix multiplication will happen. So we know that from the equation previous, which is strain displacement equation when you wrote it, so it was B into u. Strain is nothing but B into u, and stress is nothing but strain into E, which was given as B into u into E. Okay, B into u into E. So now I'll substitute the same things in this particular equation, because the stiffness which we have to find out, we have to find out in a matrix form. So we are just converting the normal equation into a matrix equation. Okay, so I'll just substitute the things. Strain energy is equal to half integration 0 to length. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll make a round bracket. So in that, stress I'll be writing it as B U E, which will be transpose. Okay, which will be transpose. Next comes strain here. Strain is basically written as B into U. B into U, and then this becomes E. Only what is remaining here is A into dx. A into dx. Okay, A into dx. So now what is required? So whenever we are trying to solve, okay, whenever we are trying to solve any stiffness matrix equation, it is better to convert this is written in a global coordinate system dx. It is better to convert it in terms of natural coordinate system. You already know whenever we are doing the equational form. So here it is 0 to LE. Okay, 0 to LE. So every time you have to integrate with the put the limits with length. So instead of that, I will be converting it into a zeta parameter, where the integrations becomes -1 to +1. Okay, so here dx is there. So dx can be easily converted into d zeta. How? We have already done in the previous equation. That is d zeta by dx is equal to 2 by LE. So d zeta by dx is equal to 2 by LE. So what will be dx by d zeta? So dx by d zeta is equal to LE by 2, or dx is nothing but LE by 2 into d zeta. This is what you are getting here. So d zeta by dx, which you have done already whenever you are deriving the strain displacement matrix. So d zeta by dx is nothing but 2 by LE. So where dx by d zeta becomes LE by 2. So if I want only dx here, so I will be writing LE by 2 d zeta. Okay. So I am just substituting the same thing now. So I write strain energy equal to 1 by 2. So integration limits I will not put right now. So B zeta parameter comes into picture, the integration limits changes. Initially it goes in a global coordinate system where you have written 0 to LE. Now we are writing -1 to +1. Okay, so what we are doing is now we will be segregating the terms. So what I will do is strain energy is equal to half integration -1 to +1. So I have written this as, I will expand this. This becomes V transpose into U transpose. This becomes only E because it is a constant parameter. Okay, so then it becomes V here and it is UV and A LE by 2 into d zeta. LE by 2 into d zeta. Okay, so now from this I will try to get a stiffness matrix parameter out of this. So just observe how we are doing this. What I am doing here is I am just rearranging the term to get the stiffness matrix equation. Okay, so strain energy is equal to half. So what I will do is I will take U transpose outside. Okay, U transpose outside. Integration -1 to +1. B transpose into B. Okay, B transpose into B. Into A into E LE by 2 d zeta will be this parameter. Okay, LE by 2 into d zeta. Okay, then what I am doing here is LE by 2 into d zeta. This will be one parameter into U. Okay, and just writing the things. See, just rearranging it. So U transpose you have written P transpose B. Okay, AE LE by 2 d zeta into U. So if you see this here, this covers up the strain matrix equation. If you observe here. The parameter here inside this, if I try to solve this in the form of unit wise, what is the unit of B? B was given as 1 by LE -1 1. So 1 by LE means this becomes 1 by mm. Okay, this is also becoming 1 by mm. So what here this becomes mm square. This becomes Newton per mm square. Okay, this becomes mm. This becomes mm. Okay, d zeta becomes mm. When you solve this gets cancelled. Okay, so this gets cancelled. Zeta doesn't have any value here. Okay, so this is really zeta is a dimensionless number. So this gets cancelled. You remain with Newton per mm. Newton per mm. What is Newton per mm? Newton per mm is nothing but stiffness. Okay, so if you solve this also, so here this becomes mm here and this becomes mm here. Okay, so when you solve this gets cancelled and you remain with the energy equation. Once again I will explain. Newton per mm, B matrix is 1 by mm, 1 by mm, area is given as mm square, E is given as Newton per mm square into L is given as mm. Okay, so this, if you just see this parameter, so what happens? M square gets cancelled, here m and this one gets cancelled. What remains here is Newton per mm. So afterwards outside it is mm here one more mm is there, multiplied you become mm square and this gets cancelled and it becomes Newton mm. So what does this means that whatever the term which is there in the bracket is the stiffness matrix equation. Okay, so what I will do is I will just take out that. So KE, I will represent stiffness matrix as KE. So whatever outside. So AE LE by 2. Okay, AE LE by 2. Integration -1 to +1 B transpose into B into d zeta. Okay, B transpose into B into d zeta. So whatever the parameter is there, the only parameter is this zeta which to be integrated. So AE LE by 2 B transpose into B. What is d zeta integration? It becomes zeta -1 to +1. -1 to +1. Okay. So what you will get? Your integration for this becomes zeta 1 minus of -1 becomes 2. So it becomes AE LE by 2 into B transpose into B, and this becomes 2. Okay, so 2 gets cancels here. So what you end up here is you are end up with AE LE. Okay, so B transpose into B. Okay, now you have to do the matrix multiplication of B transpose and B. So what you are writing here is, first is what is B you are writing. So B is nothing but 1 by LE minus 1 1. So this is B, which is strain displacement matrix. So when you go for B transpose, what do you write? 1 by LE. So this becomes a column matrix. Row matrix becomes a column matrix. So if you want to do the multiplication of B transpose into B, so it becomes 1 by LE into what are you getting? B transpose into B is 1 by LE minus 1 1 into 1 by LE minus 1 1. Okay, so how to do the multiplication here? So I will show you. So I will just multiply these two. It becomes 1 by LE square. So you have to do the multiplication of minus 1 1 and minus 1 comma 1. Okay. So what will be the size of this matrix? So it is first column, 1 column, 2 rows. Okay, 2 column, 1 row. So it will be 2 by 2 matrix. It will be a 2 by 2 matrix. So what you will get? So 1 by LE square. So minus 1 into 1. Minus 1 into minus 1. It becomes 1. Minus 1 into 1 becomes minus 1. 1 into minus 1 becomes minus 1. 1 into 1 becomes 1. So this is the multiplication for B transpose into B. So I just substitute here. So what I will get here is nothing but KE is AE LE. So B transpose into B is given as 1 by LE square into 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. So this gets cancelled. So KE is nothing but KE by LE. That is the length of the element into 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. This is for a particular element. Okay. So stiffness matrix will be always given for a particular element. For example, if I see a element here which has two nodes, 1 and 2. 1 and 2. So the stiffness matrix numbering will be 1 2 1 2. So this stiffness matrix is totally related for a particular element. So if you get one more element like this, so you have to derive one matrix, which will be giving you the relationship between the second node and the third node. Okay, so this is how we have calculated the value of a stiffness matrix. So this is an important derivation. So where how to calculate the value of the stiffness matrix. So this is the final equation. So for a 1D bar element, okay, so this will be the stiffness matrix. Okay, so what we have done, we have taken a strain energy for 3D body, we have converted into one dimensional element. Then what we did, we just substituted the value of stress and strain in terms of strain displacement matrix. Then we substituted in the main equation. Then after, as it was in a global coordinate system, we converted into a natural coordinate system. So then what we did is we rearranged the term in such a way that we can only extract the stiffness parameter out of that particular equation. When we did the when we extracted that, we did the integration with respect to zeta. Then we did the multiplication of strain displacement matrix. One was a transpose and one was a regular. So then we got it, this matrix. We multiplied with this particular equation. So finally we got stiffness matrix is equal to AE by NE 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. So this is how we need to derive this particular equation. So you need to remember this particular equation because it is very much useful whenever you are solving a bar problem. Okay, whenever we are solving a bar problem, it is very much important because the logic behind this is we will be using a simple equation called as force is equal to, okay, stiffness into displacement. We call it as displacement. Force is equal to stiffness into displacement. This is a basic equation which we will be using in the solution of any FEM problem. So force, which is the applied force, we will be knowing it. Stiffness we will be calculating with this particular equation. Displacement is the only parameter we need to calculate. So through these, this is a single equation with one unknown. We can easily calculate the displacement of a particular node. Okay. So this is how we will be calculating the stiffness matrix. So hope you understood this. Thank you. One more thing here, we will be trying to understand some basic properties of a stiffness matrix. So one of the important property of a stiffness matrix is stiffness matrix remains always remains a symmetric matrix. Okay, the stiffness matrix will be always a symmetric matrix. So if you know the basic matrix parameter, so this whatever the diagonal is there, this diagonal is called as the principal diagonal element. So this diagonal is called as a principal diagonal element. So whatever the elements which are there from the right and left hand side of the principal diagonal elements, they will be symmetric. Okay, so for example, if you see here, first row, second column. Okay, first row, second column, there is a parameter called as -1. So if it is called as, I will write it as 1 2 location. First row, second column. So if I go with the other one, second row, first column will always be same. This is second row, first column. First row, second column equal to second row, first column, which means that the stiffness matrix will always be symmetric. Okay, so you should be these are the important parameters you should properties you should understand, because whenever we are solving any problem, you should cross check, okay, whether the stiffness matrix is correct or wrong. In order to know that, you should know these properties. So what are the properties? The first is the stiffness matrix is a symmetric matrix. Okay, so it will be always symmetric matrix. The elements diagonal right side and the left side of the principal diagonal elements will be always having a symmetric property. The second property is the principal diagonal element of a stiffness matrix will always be positive. You will not see any single negative term in a principal diagonal element. Okay, so you have to understand that. So whatever the principal diagonal element is there, this you will be getting always a positive number. There will be no any negative number. So you should be able to verify that whenever you are solving a parameter. So I will be explaining you detail whenever we are solving the problems. I will be recalling the properties of a matrix. See here, one more parameter of one more property of this stiffness matrix is, if I have a body this is an element. You might be seeing n number of elements here. This is an element which is having two nodes. Okay, so if I have an element which is having two nodes, okay, and for this particular case, this node is having a single degree of freedom, which is allowed to move in one axis. Okay, so the size of the stiffness matrix will be 2 by 2. 2 by 2. So if I have an element which is having, so for example, if you see here, if I take n number of elements, so this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. Okay, so this will be having one stiffness matrix, this will be having one more stiffness matrix, this will be having one more stiffness matrix. Later we have to combine all the stiffness matrix to form a single stiffness matrix, which I will be telling you in the problem. But what will be the size of the final stiffness matrix? So you see how many nodes are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Each is having single degree of freedom. So the size of the stiffness matrix will be 4 by 4, which is the final stiffness matrix. Individually whenever we are calculating, it has two nodes. So the size will be 2 into 2, 2 into 2, 2 into 2. Total size, when you have to combine all the stiffness matrix, the size will be 4 by 4, which indicates that if a continuum or if a body is divided by n number of nodes, so the size of the stiffness matrix will be n into n. Okay, so how many number of nodes are there? That many numbers of size of the stiffness matrix will be there. Okay, so you have to understand here, depending upon the nodes and their degrees of freedom. So if I see for this particular problem, each node has a single degree of freedom. So when you go for a beam problem, each node has a 2 degree of freedom. One is the vertical displacement, one more is the slope. So when we are going for a beam problem, this becomes double. This becomes double. So same beam problem, whenever I am solving, this node has 2, this node has 2, this node has 2, this node has 2. But the node number is 4. So what we have to do is 4 into 2. Then it becomes 8. So the size of a beam element for this particular problem, if I consider it as a beam, the size becomes 8. For a bar, it becomes 4. What is the difference? For a bar, each node has a single degree of freedom. For a beam, each node has a 2 degree of freedom. Okay, I hope you understood this. So these are the three important properties you need to understand. One is the stiffness matrix is always stiffness matrix is a symmetric matrix. The second one is the principal diagonal element in a stiffness matrix are always positive. The third property is if a body is divided by n number of nodes, the size of the stiffness matrix will be n into n. Okay, I hope it is clear. These are the three basic properties which is required to solve whenever we are solving a beam bar problem. Okay. Now we'll be seeing how to derive the load vectors. Okay, so what happens in an FEMS? So whenever we are solving a problem which has been subjected to a load, so what happens here is in a FEM, you have to remember that load can be only given on the nodes. Okay, so the load, whatever the nodes are there here, okay, the load can be given on this particular nodes only. You cannot give on an element. So this is an element is there, so you cannot give the loads on this particular part. Only the load will be considered on the nodes. You can give the load here, you can give the load here like this. Okay, so but what happens here is, you see, this is the important thing you need to remember. In an FEM, whenever you are doing a theoretical FEM, the load can be given only on the nodes. Okay, but if you see the nature of the loads, there are three types of loads which are there in the nature. One is called as a body force, one is called as a traction or a surface force, one more is called as a point load. So the third load, which is a point load, which will be directly given on the nodes. Sometimes if I take a beam, so a beam which is being subjected to an UDL load is difficult to solve directly, okay, by taking this UDL load. This is first node, this is second node. The load is directly applied on the element, in a theoretical case, whatever the problem definition is there. For that case, we need to convert these loads, equivalent load which is being given on this particular nodes. We have to convert this realistic load to an equivalent nodal force. Okay, so that we can solve the FEM problem. So only in an FEM you cannot apply the loads directly on an element. Okay, so the other two forces which are called as a body force and a traction force, which are applied over the element, okay, or over the volume or over the area, which is difficult to analyze in an FEM. So what they are done is they have converted these body force into an equivalent nodal forces, or the forces which can be converted into a point load, the body forces which can converted, or the surface force which can be converted into a nodal forces or a point load forces. Okay, so we are now deriving the conversion factor. If you come across a problem which is being subjected to its own weight, or it is being subjected to a traction force which you want to solve in an FEM environment, in that case we have to convert that body force into a nodal forces. Okay, so we will be doing that. So simple, it is simple derivation. Will now consider for a work potential. Okay, we will now consider for a work potential. So basically you have derived the work potential for body force, okay, which was given as integration, always, because it is a body force. So 0 to volume, okay, U transpose, which we have to take for the matrix multiplication, F, which is a body force, into dV. So this was a 3D, for a 3D case, so which we have calculated. When you want to convert the same thing into the, what we call it as the 1D analysis, or work potential for a bar element, for a bar element, I'll convert this volume into same thing, area into displacement we will be converting, which you have done for a strain displacement matrix. So now the integration becomes 0 to length. Okay, so U transpose remains as it is, F remains as it is, dV is converted into A into dx, A into dx. Okay, I hope it is clear. So this is how we are considering the differentiation. Okay, so now what we are doing is we are now trying to solve this particular problem. So how to solve this particular problem? So what we will do is we will take this parameter and we will integrate it. So before integration, what we do is we will try to convert this dx parameter, because I already told you it is very convenient to solve in a natural coordinate environment. Okay, so instead of substituting every time LE, I have a limits which is of -1 to +1. So from your previous stiffness matrix derivation, so you have done that dx by d zeta is equal to Le by 2. Dx by d zeta is equal to Le by 2, or dx is nothing but Le by 2 into d zeta. Okay, Le by 2 into d zeta. So now what we are doing, we will be converting this. So we will be substituting this into this particular equation. So now I have converted the global coordinate system into a natural coordinate system. So whenever we are converting into a natural coordinate system, whenever we are including d zeta, the integration parameter changes. So limits changes from -1 to +1. Okay, so this becomes U transpose, okay, F into A into Le by 2 into d zeta, Le by 2 into d zeta. So now I'll just simplify this work potential. I'll take all the common whatever the constant terms are there outside, and then only I'll keep the integration parameters. So F A Le by 2, I'll keep it outside. So what I'll do is I'll do the integration, -1 plus 1. We have U transpose into d zeta, U transpose into d zeta. So we have already know that U can be written as N1 U1 plus N2 U2. n1 u1 or n2 u2, or it is can be written as u is equal to n into u, n into u. So u is a field variable, small u is the nodal displacement. Okay, so if I take this u is equal to as it is given as u transpose here, so it is given as n transpose into u flower bracket u transpose. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll only differentiate, because so if you see n is nothing but a shape function. So shape functions, we have already derived the shape functions in the natural coordinate environment. So if I take this n is nothing but, it is given as n1 comma n2. Okay, n1 comma n2. So if I want to write n transpose, it becomes n1 upon or n1 n2 in the column matrix. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just using this equation and trying to solve this. Okay, so before doing this, what we do is we'll just substitute the values here. We'll just substitute the values. What is u transpose means? Work potential is nothing but F A LE by 2. Okay, so u transpose, I'm just substituting this here, u transpose integration -1 to +1 n transpose into d zeta. Okay, so now I'll write what is n here. What is n? I'll write it here. So n is nothing but n1 comma n2. Okay, for a bar element we have derived, we have got two shape functions n1 and n2. So n transpose is nothing but n1 upon or n1 n2 in a column matrix. So now what are the values of n1 and n2? Okay, so the values of n1 and n2 are, n1 is 1 minus zeta by 2 and 1 plus zeta by 2. So these are n1 n2 values in terms of natural coordinate system. So what we got is, here we have to do the integration with respect to d zeta. So integration -1 to +1 n transpose into d zeta will be integration -1 to +1. I have to do 1 minus zeta by 2, or what I'll do is I'll take half outside, 1 by 2 keep it outside, 1 minus zeta and 1 plus zeta into d zeta. Okay, into d zeta. So you have to do the integration for this and put the limits. So what you will get here is 1 by 2, integration of this will be zeta minus zeta square by 2 and zeta plus zeta square by 2. Okay, -1 plus 1, the limits. Okay, so what you will get here is, this is 1. Okay, 1 1 second, plus 1 minus 1, this will be 2. So half will be equal to this will be 1 plus 1. Okay, I'll simplify it further. 1 plus 1 minus 1 minus 1 divided by 2. Here once again 1 plus 1 plus 1 minus 1 divided by 2, because it is square here. 1 minus 1 divided by 2. What you will get here is, you will be getting 1 by 2, 2 and 2. So if you solve this, so what you will get here is 1 1. Okay, so what is the solution of this? So when you solve this particular n transpose d zeta with respect to -1 and +1, you will be getting the values as 1 1. So I'll just substitute the values there. So what is your formulation you had got here? I'll just write it down once again. So you had got work potential is nothing but u transpose F A LE by 2 integration -1 to +1 N transpose into d zeta. So now what you are getting here is work potential is equal to U transpose F A L E by 2. This integration you got it as 1 1. Okay, so now if you see the basic work potential formula, the basic work potential formula is given as U transpose into load. U transpose into load, that is force into displacement. So if you compare these two equations, you got U transpose here, whatever the parameter is there, this will be the conversion factor. So F is nothing but, or you can call it as capital F, is nothing but F A L E by 2, and this will be 1 1. 1 1. So what does this physically means? That this is the conversion factor, you have to apply it on a node. So for example, if you solve it, I'll just show it here. For example, so if you have a bar like this which is hanging, okay, which is hanging, and it has been subjected to its body force. Because of its self weight, the body is trying to displace or deform. So what is the amount of deformation? If you want to know, if I want to solve this particular problem in a FEM method, so what I'll do is I'll model it in a single element. I'll just model it as a single element now for a theoretical cases. So I just model it as a single element. Now you have modeled it. So you got a node here 1, node here 2. That there are two nodes. So as the body is being subjected to a body force, you cannot directly apply the body force here. You should require the conversion factor. This is a conversion factor which has to be considered. So FA LE by 2 into 1 means you have to apply it on the first node as well as you have to apply it on the second node, which means that you have to apply this conversion factor if it is being subjected to body force, like FA LE by 2, this here also, and here FA LE by 2 here also, here also. So then you can solve this particular problem in FEM. Hope you have understood this. Okay, so the same concept, we are using body force to convert the body force into a point load. We have done this type of a solution through which we have got this particular equation. So through this equation I can solve any body subjected to a body force. I can convert them into a nodal forces. So once again I'll repeat, any body, whenever we are solving, apart from the point load, if you have a surface force or a body force, you need to convert it into a nodal force. Now we have done it for a body force. Now once again we'll try it for a surface force or a traction force. Okay, the same concept, the same type of integration you have to do it. Okay, so here the same thing will be applying. The only thing is for a surface force, for a surface force, the procedure remains the same here. The procedure remains same. We will be applying the work potential. In general, we will be writing for a surface force, that is integration. For a surface force, we will go for 0 to S for a particular surface. Okay, U transpose. Okay, T I will write it as a traction force, as a nomenclature, into ds, into ds. This is a work potential for the traction force or a surface force. Now in general we are writing it for a surface. So if I want to convert it into a line, okay, if I want to convert it into a line, so work potential for a surface force for a 1D element or for a bar element, we will be writing it as work potential is given as, now the limit changes from 0 to length, U transpose remains as it is, T into dx, okay, T into dx, the same thing, the same procedure we have to apply now. Now we will be converting it into a d zeta. Okay, dx is converted into d zeta, so that will be work potential integration -1 to +1 u transpose T into LE by 2 into d zeta. This is the conversion factor which we have taken. So now same thing, work potential is nothing but T LE by 2, okay, integration -1 to +1 u transpose into d zeta. Okay, same thing, u is given as n into nodal displacement. So u transpose is given as n transpose integration u transpose. So what I will do, work potential is equal to T LE by 2 u transpose, okay, integration -1 to +1 n transpose into d zeta. Okay, so we have already done from the previous solution what is the integration of n transpose with respect to -1 to +1 with respect to d zeta. The limit is the -1 to +1. So we can write it as work potential is given as u transpose, okay, T LE by 2 into 1 1 into 1 1. So comparing to the general work potential which is given as u transpose into F, okay, so what will be the nodal force here? So the nodal force is given as F is equal to T LE by 2 1 1. So one node has to be applied on the first and one more load has to be applied on the second wherever the UDL load or some traction force which is being acting. Okay, so same thing happens. So if I take a bar being subjected to a traction force on a particular line which is acting here over the element, in FEM I have to convert that into a nodal force. So this is first node and this is second node. The equivalent load for this particular case will be T LE by 2 here and T LE by 2 here. So I have to apply the equivalent load. Okay, so this is how we'll convert the body force and surface forces into a nodal forces. So next we will be solving some problems, some basic problems on bar by applying all these equations which we have derived. So we will be using the stiffness matrix equation. These, if a body is subjected to a body force or a traction force, we will be using those conversions to solve and to get the displacement of the particular node. Okay, so hope you got this particular session. Thank you.